Welcome, everyone. I see a few new people. I see a few of our regulars. I'm so glad you're here. Junie just came. Junie, you want to say hi before I open up the whole place? No? Okay. Well, then you have to go away. You can't be here. Um, the health doctor on CBS had his son bouncing on the bottom of his Zoom this morning. And it was very funny because they thought it was a dog. And he goes, "Oh, no, it's my son." We're so used to seeing our cats and our dogs walk across the picture that it was not. It was his son. So welcome, welcome, welcome. This has been such a busy week with so many things happening. I don't even know where to start. I posted, and some of you might have known. Well, let me start from the beginning. Welcome, everyone, to the MAAP community call during COVID, which helps everyone make a plan for their pets in the event something happens to them. It used to just be the MAP community call, but once we got into COVID, we recognized there were a few tweaks we needed to make to the make a plan, address the needs of our pet, appoint caregivers, and publish. What we do every week is we have a conversation. We see where everybody is, who comes again and again, and I'm so glad where they are in making their plan because they really are thinking about their pets. And for me, this has been such an incredible week with difficulties that people are having with respect to animals and co-owners and ex-spouses or spouses, and people passing away and leaving their dogs. I don't know how many of you, but I think most of you saw Cutie Spencer, the cutie patootie who is up on my Facebook page. Well, I got about 14 people who wanted to see more about or learn more about Spencer. And that's really, really great. The woman who is taking care of Spencer now, due to the fact that I believe the gentleman who had him either got ill or passed away. I don't have all the facts, and so I'm not going to speculate. But in any event, he couldn't care for him any longer, and he gave him to this wonderful woman who's been looking for a good home for him. And a few, of course, of the Irish setter world raised their hand and said, I'll be happy to take him. They want to keep him in Southern California, which, Connie, I don't know why that would be.
Yeah, I don't know. I did share your post with my friend Nancy Fenolio, who I don't know if she's still president of the local Irish Setter Club, but she was.
Yeah, and I'm so grateful you did. Because I think that this woman is an Irish setter person, but I'm not sure. It's really interesting. So many of my clients who buy dogs, purebred dogs, from breeders don't necessarily join the local club or the national club. And if you're looking for the A, which is appoint caregivers, being a member of a national or local club will make it that much easier for you to find maybe the second or third level of caregiver for your pet. Because A, we know the breed. B, we like more than one, sort of like French fries. And we always work together. And I think Connie would chime in with me, we always sort of believe it's going to happen. But what we do here on the MAP program is recognize if you want it to happen the way you want it to happen, put it in writing. It's really key. Because talking about it over a glass of wine isn't necessarily going to hold a lot of weight if you can't speak. So I want to check in with everyone. Sally, how's Athena?
Athena is great. We're actually going to be getting snow on Friday, and it was 70 degrees today.
I know. I was walking without a coat today. That was great.
Yeah, it's wonderful, finally.
And my husband, I'll have to tell everyone that my husband was not happy when Sally shared that with me yesterday because he doesn't like snow. And he goes, "What do you mean there's snow?" I said, "That's what Sally said." But Sally assured me it was only in her neck of the woods, which is about 30 minutes north of me. So hopefully it won't come here, Sally, or you'll be hearing Jim yell about the weather. So I'm glad she's good.
She's great. And of course, with Irish setters, the cool weather is perfect for walking. The hot weather, not so much, unless they're accustomed to it. So
right.
Yes,
or unless they're young and have no sense or no feeling.
Exactly.
Because Junie doesn't mind it at all, but Roxy's like, "Are you kidding me? We're walking the whole walk today?" I said, "Yes, we are, because we have the young one with us, and we two old biddies have to do the whole walk. Sorry." She's looking at me going, "But we were so good about cheating." I said, "Yes, I know," while he was gone. Hey, Connie, how's everything go with the Wheatonland?
Very, very well, thank you. And we're maybe about 15 or 20 degrees cooler than you are here in LA. You can see me with my hoodie on. It's only been in the mid to high 50s here. But I almost experienced one of the D's, one of the 7 Ds yesterday, called disability. And I thought of you because of your mishap that started MAAP, Deborah.
Yep.
I was walking into my study to do some computer work after I had fed the dogs and scooped the poop and all the other stuff. And my young 2-year-old had apparently taken a huge gulp of water after he came in from terrorizing all living things in the backyard. And he promptly spat it up. There was a huge puddle at the entrance to the door to the study, and my foot hit it.
And out it went.
And I fortunately had the wall to brace myself against and caught myself, but I landed en point like a prima ballerina. And I was in terrible pain all yesterday. Thought I had broken my toe, but it wiggled. But it was like, oh my God,
very sore. Yeah.
And then this morning, when I took my sock off to get into the shower, my big toe is Technicolor. I think I broke every capillary in it, and the second toe right next to it, the side that bumps up against the big toe, is all purple. And so, yeah,
You're a little disabled, not completely, but a little disabled.
Not completely, but I'm hobbling. I am hobbling around with 3 crazy Wheaton Terriers. Oh God, Mom, let's play. And had I landed in that puddle, who knows what I would have broken.
It's so perfect you bring that up, because that is absolutely the things we talk about. And then what do? Well, if you, God forbid, had fallen and broken something, you would have known. Well, the numbers are up on the wall.
Right.
When the EMS comes, I'm going to say, hey, leave my dogs here. Or you can call the person to come while you're waiting for EMS. Because we are multitaskers as dog people.
Right. But that really brought it home to roost.
Well, I have to tell you, so I've been having the week you've been having, because Junie went right under my foot and I stepped on his paw. And of course, God forbid, I step on his paw, right?
Right.
So I lift my leg really quickly and he bangs into me. So I'm only one-legged. And then he bangs into me. And the good news was he banged into me toward the wall and not toward the staircase downstairs, so that I could have gone after the tea kettle down the stairs. I slammed into the wall. And I like you just twist because you're catching yourself. And I was a little sore for a little while. And then the next day, because he just really wants to kill us in his free time, he was behind Jim as Jim turned quickly from the refrigerator. Jim didn't see him. And all of a sudden, and I saw it happening. So I grabbed Jim's arm and he goes, I can't fall. And I said, you're not falling. I'm going to have a delayed fall. So he slow motion to the floor as I lowered him, because he was going. I couldn't stop him from going, but I could cushion it by holding him. So absolutely, everyone, recognize that whether you're young or you're in your golden years, like some of us, dogs get underfoot. And when they get underfoot, or they puke and leave you a package you don't see because it's clear, maybe the light wasn't on, who knows, you can slip. And those things are really things you don't consider, but could really end in a little bit of disaster, like Connie's purple toe, and my slamming into the wall and Jim's slow motioning to the floor. Or they could end up in huge disaster. I mean, how many of us know people who stepped off a curb and broke their ankle in so many places that they, hold on a minute, that they had to get screws and plates and everything else. You're, wait a minute, you just stepped off the curb? Yes, but I did it so gracefully that I had to get screws and plates and everything else. So we just have to really understand that it's not if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen, and let's make sure we have a plan for the dogs so we don't have to worry about that. Perfect. Oh God. Well, I'm so glad you're okay, although maybe you should go for an x-ray. Although there's nothing you can do for a
There's
big toe.
nothing you can do with the toe. It's like a cracked rib.
Yeah, you have to
I've had.
yeah, that's not fun. And that is so painful. I'll send my good Gavas out, the guardian angel virtual assistants out there to make you feel better.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you caught yourself. Hey, Susan, how's it going for you? Are you getting a little bit further along? How's our Miss Katie do? Molly or Katie? You're muted. It's Molly.
Maggie.
Maggie. Thank you. It's Maggie.
Yeah, I think what you were just saying really resonated with me because Maggie, you know, is quite a dog to get underfoot. And I have a 10-foot ceiling. And every time I go down the staircase, she's running into my legs. And, you know, she's, easy to step. You know, it's just, I've had a few injuries.
And then you want to not step on them. So you pull yourself and you get yourself, that's what happened to me. You get yourself cattywampus.
Yeah, it's just real. And what you're talking about is so real. And I have no one to fall back on right now. Like my husband's not been well and he can't drive and I have to take care of my son. And I have a lot to do every day with my Joe. And I can't afford to get hurt. I can't afford to let that happen. I have had some injuries.
I know. And that's the time when they come. So what you need to do, you know, what we said, call your breeder, who did tell you there were some people in the area that had batons and could help you.
I'm sure there are people. And I am still working on my MAAP plan. I have printed out all the documents that he had in the workshop and, you know.
Yeah, because we just want to make sure they know you exist. So the Catan people just need to know you exist because like Connie and I and Sally, we're there to help. You know, we know each other now. I love that we sometimes have people on from all parts of the country and then they get to know each other. Like I think there are at least 3 or 4 who've been in Southern California, Connie. So if God forbid something happened, the people who are on these calls and who listen to these calls know that there's someone there that I can connect them with so that they can have someone to be a backup because we might not know someone, but they might actually be available to us if we just become part of the community.
Yeah, I just think for Maggie, I've got to somehow get her to stop biting because, you know, anybody who takes this dog, I think it's so important for me to really describe her personality because she wasn't what I was expecting when I got her. She was totally out of what I was.
She wasn't like your last Catan.
Not in the least.
And I can tell you, most people will say that I know that Sally's had a few Irish setters, and although they have some similarities, they each had their own persnicketies. And I know with Wheaten Terriers, they are born persnickety. So some are really good. And some, they're terriers. Come on, Patty.
They're the mildest of the terriers.
They are the mildest of the terriers. You're absolutely right. They are the least terrorist of the terriers. And
that's
they
right.
are lovely.
Medium-sized dogs. They're not little terrorists. So.
Right. And you know what? We love them. And Irish setters, you know, they have their own idiosyncrasies. I know I've had probably 20 in my lifetime, and not one was like the other, and some were easy and some weren't. It really depends on, you know, what's coming. So have you hired the trainer yet or not yet?
You know, I am still waiting for a call back from Barkbusters, but I think I may need to move on. I did try to look up that person that you recommended.
Oh, Sarah says, yep.
Yeah, and I looked up online. She's in North Carolina.
No, she's not. She's in Bedford. Sarah says her name is Sarah Hodgson, Hodgson. And it says Sarah says. So she's in
Hodgson.
Right.
Okay.
She's in Bedford. And
I need to.
You know, and she has a lot of stuff online.
Yeah, and what is that like? Is that like a franchise or something? Or
well, for her it probably is, but she doesn't sell it to anybody else. She just does it herself.
Okay.
So she's really good. So we have a new person here tonight, and she's a colleague of mine from Rebound. I don't know if any of you were able to listen to the podcast they did with Spencer Hoggett for Rebound Dog, who helps shelter dogs and thrown away people become part of. Hey, Ari, how are you? Tell us a
Good, how
little
are
bit
you?
about what you're doing and the pets in your life
Yeah, so my name
and
is
where you're
Air.
from. Don't forget.
Yeah, yeah. I am right here in Minneapolis, and I am an entrepreneur, and my company is called Morty Spark and Brew, and Morty is my dog. She's 10 years old, and so there are actually two parts of my business. The first one is a beer hall and an indoor-outdoor dog park combo
So the
in
Irish are
one
right there for it. No worries.
in one facility. And the second part is ongoing education program that I call Holy Shift, relationship coach for dog and human.
Oh,
So
fabulous.
yeah, and so the first part is probably easier to imagine because it's quite tangible. Have like indoor outdoor, and people can bring dogs in and hang out, and you don't have to use my facility. I mean, you don't have to use the park. You can just come and drink if you don't have a dog.
Yeah,
I
you don't
don't
need a
mind.
dog to get in. There's not like a
Nope.
dog cost to entry, but you could
Nope.
probably provide dogs if there was
Right.
a shelter night where you could provide a dog.
Yeah, and but if your dog would like to use the parks, then the membership is required to protect me and you and
Right,
other
right.
people.
Oh,
Yep,
that's
and
great. You drink with your dog. How great is that?
yeah.
Hey, if
so-
you're Irish, that
I drink with my
You
dog
do,
every
right?
night.
I am not, but I can be.
you're honorary here. We are Irish and we have Irish breeds.
That's right.
There you go. And the second part is the education program. It's the integration. When I come up with this, it's more of that there are so many experts out there. I would like to be a platform. I don't want to be, frankly, I don't have enough time to learn what they learned in the 2-3 decades, right? Why don't elevate them and put them in the right place where they'll be exposed more in a really casual setting? Because
Yeah.
when you said education, people say roll their eyes, synchronize eye rolling and say, I don't want to learn anymore. But if it's a little more casual, it's a little more organic. People talk about it, and it's more inviting, in my opinion, that learning should be social event, should be, collaboration is not just like you listening and me talking. It should go both ways. That's when I come up with that. And it's an integration between how you care for your dog and how you care for yourself are quite similar, right? If you really not well physically, your dog gonna suffer in some form, right? You can't take your dog for a walk,
Right.
as you mentioned, or like when you eat crap and you don't pay much attention to what you eat, how would you have enough energy to prepare a nutrition meal for your dog? I don't mean to like cook meal, anything like that, but it's just like
But
do a
just
little
read the
research.
bag.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just like, so it goes both ways. That's how I feel, that when you are physically, mentally, and emotionally at your best, your dog gonna be at their best too naturally. That's just
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
just how you treat yourself. It's going to transcend to how you treat your dog. So take care of yourself. Take care
And
of
you
your
get
dog.
the
Go together.
community at the fun and run around the park and have a beer side.
Right.
And maybe you
And
can have them matriculate to the other side and say, oh, what does this mean? Oh, you
right.
mean this is really good information, how to cut your dog's nails or how to
Yeah.
teach your dog to
It's
sit or come when they're
it's
called.
yeah, it's like a little tidbit, like I don't force, like I don't want to force people to learn. They have got to motivate themselves, by being surrounded by other people who cares for their dog deeply and actually doing things, because
Right.
knowledge is just knowledge. It's not going to be anything if you don't actually do it. Right. So
And there's not a judgment if you don't want to like take your dog to bed with you, but
No,
if you want it to sleep on the floor, that's okay.
right.
But it's just that camaraderie of pet ownership. And I think now we really do need. The New York Times had a big article on how people didn't have any idea. And your place will do a great job with this. People didn't have any idea what they were getting into when they
Mhm.
adopted dogs from shelters or bought puppies.
Right.
They had
Yeah.
no idea. So
And-
maybe if
and
they
I-
go for a beer with their dog, they'll say, oh, wait a minute, they're teaching them how to sit over there. Let me go do that.
Yeah, it's like, to me, it feels like a positive peer pressure is a really good push. That you see from the sample or other example that people are doing, like ordinary people, not expert, not celebrity, just
It's sort of
ordinary
like
people.
when we do limbo,
Yeah.
right? We're all trying to get lower under the bar. So we all work together to try to get lower under the bar. So if we all bring our dogs and we watch people and we make sure nobody makes fun of anybody or everybody is pitching in. So the dogs, I mean, most obedience classes now, not when I started. I don't know about you, Connie, but when you started, did they make fun of the people whose dog didn't do what they? So, I mean, they were terrible. I would never have come back.
You know, we had choke chains and pinch collars and, you know, all the very abusive.
And now, of course, it's
out now.
like everything is positive reinforcement,
Right.
which is really fun to do if you make it a game. So you're making it a game there. That's great.
And it's just, you know, like I want like-minded people to be there so they can encourage others who have different opinions to see for themselves, right? Yeah. You don't have to change your mind, but what I ask is for you to at least see it.
So then you'll have to do that conflict resolution when somebody has an opinion and the other person goes, they're wrong. You'll have to say, hey, we have so many ways to do this.
Yeah.
And make it a joke. I always do this all the time when people are in conflict. There are many ways to skin a cat, but the cat never likes it.
Exactly. I mean, it's like there's, you know, when it comes to our dog, it's not like one single solution fix all, right? It's depends on a lot of things. Depends on your lifestyle, depends on your beliefs, depends on your experience and finance and all that crap. So it's like make it fit your lifestyle, right? That's if you do not agree, there might be other way you can do or you can try. It's not like my way is better, although sometimes a lot of people think that. And it's you can think it. You don't have to say it. You can
That's
just
right.
think it,
and you can go home and do it your way. That's fine.
Yeah.
But you know what? Sometimes if we give somebody a chance and we go, oh, let me see if that'll work. And then we realize, oh, God, I have to tell Sally she was right, that it was easier doing it that way. You know, but that's where we laugh and have a glass of beer. Yeah, so people are much better when you have a glass of beer.
Exactly. It's like mood booster, you know, it's like you breaking the ice in style. Like, oh, Deborah, I don't know about that, but here, have a beer and then we'll talk after one beer.
After one beer, maybe two.
Yeah. Just like go chill over there and then we'll talk after a beer too.
So tell us a little bit about Morty. What is he? Is he a
she is a husky and boxer mix. And I adopted her when she was 3 months old. And she is my pretty much, you know, and that's her. I know you can see it.
Isn't she beautiful? No, she's God, look at how cute she is.
She's lovely.
She takes after her mother, that's for sure.
Is that the husky?
Yeah, a husky and boxer, so that's her.
Oh, there she is.
What a sweetie.
Look at that.
And she actually, you know, I didn't know any better. I know what I shouldn't do, you know, now, but like 10 years ago when I had her, I like literally probably could kill her like 3 times, not knowing. Like, I was just like good intention, but man, I didn't have a good practice or a, you know, legitimate information or even the awareness of what the heck I'm doing to her is not encouragement. It was forced, that kind of thing, you know. So I was like, oh my gosh, that is horrible. Looking back now, she is healthy and vibrant at 10
she
and
made
still
it,
going.
You.
Yeah, she made it, and I was like, oh, my dog was so smart.
How many of us could have done such stupid things with their first dog? Just raise your hand. Yeah, exactly.
I was like, I should have known, but I don't. And how many people think like, you know, probably in the same shoes as I did before, right? I should have known, but I don't. And I was traveling across the country because at the time my husband and I were, my husband still is, but I no longer at the company, you know, obviously. We at the construction company, so they sent us across the country to build projects after projects. And so I didn't really have like a network that I can rely on every time.
Right, the dog.
So I moved and I've seen a lot of things, and I was like, wow, it's a good thing that I've seen those, right? Consistency is not there. So I've seen what could I have done better if I were having X, Y, Z. So that's that's what I learned from all these 10 years moving around. And now I'm situated in Minneapolis, and I just, like, I I don't know how many pet owners out there that not as lucky as me. They may have, accidentally killed a dog, like I almost did too many times, but
Yeah.
she pulled through every time. And it's like, no more, mama, don't be stupid. And so I was like, well, if I could, share this experience, now I can talk with ease.
Yeah. Yeah.
But before you wouldn't ever hear
And
me
it's
talk about it.
so
It's so
good
painful.
you're doing that. I know that Ann Tomzik from Prevent Vet, who I'll have to introduce you to, she told a story on the podcast that, and I did not know this, and I'm not sure that Connie knows this, or Susan, or Sally, or even you, that the little bags of chips, or
Yeah,
if you
that
leave them
suffocate the
out,
dog.
the dog gets it on their face and they can suffocate because it
Mhm.
sucks into their nose and
Right.
they can suffocate. I did not know that. I
Yeah,
had no
in
idea.
fact, I posted that on Facebook. 'cause
I
you
learned
shared
it
with me.
come
Yeah.
from somewhere. That was like just so simple things,
Yeah.
like,
So I didn't know that. And I've been in dogs for 35, 40 years. And I had no idea. And my husband eats potato chips all the time and leaves the bag around. So we never
Yeah.
thought that we were leaving around a death, trap.
Death trap.
for the
Yeah.
dog. Never had any idea. We don't do it anymore. But these are the kind of things that would be great to bring to the bar. And of
Mhm.
course, bringing to the bar that camaraderie, because then that piece of the MAAP plan, make a plan, address the needs of your pet. So what Susan said, I have to let everybody know about Maggie's little bit of temper tantrums that she throws and that she might be nippy. So she just has to let people know. So and you protect
Right.
yourself. But the other one that the bar would really help is appoint caregivers, because if you're coming to a bar every Friday night, you're bringing your dog and you're getting, I always say to people when they go, I don't have anybody for my dog because I haven't lived here long enough or whatever. I said, do you go to the dog park? Do you bring your dog anywhere? Do you walk your dog on the street? And they go, yeah. And I said, well, do people say hello to you? And you say, yeah. And do they have dogs? And you say, yeah. I said, well, offer to take care of their dog.
Mhm.
And then they will almost always. I did that at the beginning of COVID because I realized that people couldn't come in from Connecticut, where Sally is, and she's one of my caregivers, or New Jersey or Maryland. They couldn't come to take care of my dog. So I walked around the neighborhood to everybody who had a dog and put a card in and said, if something happens to you and you need someone to care for your pet, here's my number. And of the 15 cards I sent out, 10 people came over and said, thank you so much. And if you need the same, here's my information.
Mhm.
So at your bar, you could start that too. Listen, if your dogs like each other,
Mhm.
exchange names and addresses, because
Right.
if your dog goes to animal care and control, it can go through the whole entire system while you're recuperating in the hospital, and you'll never get them back.
That's a really good point, because I myself, only think about where Morty's gonna go if I were to die today.
Yeah, but it's not, right, guys? How
Right.
many D's are there?
No,
Right,
and
there are 7. And now,
And
I
now
got
there's the
another
8.
one, the 8th deployment if you're in the military.
Right. So Connie sent that to me because we always talk about this air. So it's death. We have to be concerned about being dead. But then as Connie pointed out, if you're disabled, you break an arm or a leg, how are you going to take
Right.
care of the dog?
Mhm.
If you have a disease, say cancer, I love all the cancer commercials have, the dog running for Neulaska when you're doing it at home. Well, great, but you're praying to the porcelain goddess. You really can't take care of the dog because you have chemotherapy.
Right.
And then there's delay. So in the old days when we took airplanes, we were delayed, or you could have mass transit and be delayed. There's dementia. So you could be suffering from dementia, but you're not dead yet. So all those plans you put in your will don't come to fruition because you're
Right.
not dead yet. Divorce. So I always try to have people who are married with pets decide how the pets are going to be cared for if, God forbid, at some day later, way down the pike, they're not liking each other. Because
Right.
unfortunately, your pet doesn't hate your ex. You do. And believe me, that's half of my practice are people who are fighting over who's going to get the pet. And if you can decide that before you hate each other, it works out so much better.
I
Because,
agree. Yeah.
it's like the new girlfriend or the new boyfriend don't want the old boyfriend or girlfriend around. And yet we've been sharing this dog for months, but now I have a new girlfriend who really doesn't want her around. Well, it's not her fault and it's not the dog's fault, but we have to work through that. And then, of course, deployment, which I was so grateful when Connie sent that, because people who go, there are a few groups that help dogs of deployment, because those agreements have to be, they're fostering it for the amount of time that the person is deployed. And then, God forbid, if something happens to the person who's deployed, they either find it a good home or they keep it, whatever happens. So it is really something that is important. Oh, and the last one would be disaster. So you live in a snowy area, so you know, if a blizzard and get buried in. I live in a hurricane area. Connie lives in the wonderful fire zone of California. She's thrilled. And Susan and Sally and I live in Hurricane Alley, so we're always worried about electricity and things like that. So it's really something, the 8Ds now, that you have to plan for. It's not just about death anymore. It really is about everything.
It's just like these little details, because it's, you know, sometimes you just think that, oh, it's never going to happen to me, right? That's kind of oftentimes we think, and God forbid, shit happens.
I know.
So.
And it always drives me nuts that people with horses think that way. And I go, there is no greater injury you can receive except being thrown off a horse. That's like, it is such an easy way to really do really bad things to your body. I'm just saying.
Yeah, been there, done that.
Yeah. So not to have a plan for your horse, thinking that the barn people are going to care for your horse while you recuperate, not good. And you know, getting out of a disaster in California with horses, not easy, because
it's horrible. And during wildfire season, all the horse people absolutely mobilize to make sure that, you know, they have trailers ready and that they have access routes ready. But even so, when that fire's coming over the mountain, you got to skedaddle, and getting, you know, an absolutely terrified horse trailered and out of there is, well, Deborah, I don't have to tell you.
Yep. It's really, you know, you maybe go down once, but if you have more than 2 horses, you're not getting back. So you better pick the two you like, because you're not going to get back to get the other 2. So it's 7:00, well, 7:02 actually, and I'm so grateful. I don't like to keep anybody longer than a half hour, but I want to answer any questions anyone has with respect to the MAAP plan. Remember, it stands for Navigating the Journey Your Pet Takes. That's why it's called the MAAP plan. Make a plan, because you have to really sit down and make a plan to decide what it is and how it is you want your dogs or cats or birds or horses or fish or reptiles cared for. And then you have to appoint caregivers, and there has to be at least 3. You have to have redundancy, because if Sally can't do it, she knows that Connie's next and she can call Connie. And if Connie can't do it, she knows that Air is next and Air can do it. So that everybody knows there's somebody there to care for Deborah's dogs. In the case there's an emergency, and only one can be a family member, because like you said, Air, you know, somebody is ill and you have to take care of them. I mean, Susan's husband was ill and is ill. And if she's taking care of him, it would be great if she had a plan in place to take care of Maggie, because she might have to take care of her husband. So you always want to recognize that it's not only for you, but it's for your family members. And then the last one, the P that nobody ever does, but I do harp on it. Everyone here who's been here more than once will know that I harp on it all the time. You have to publish it with your veterinarian, because he has to know who the people are who are going to be able to take care of your pets when you can't. Otherwise, he's not going to let the dog be taken care of, because it's not on the approved list. So you have to call your vet. You have to tell your attorney who did your will, you know, what is the plan for my pets? And the reason the MAAP plan works so well is because it goes in a pet trust, and then the pet trust doesn't change. So you never have to pay for another one. Attorneys don't like me very much, but that's all right. I'm an attorney. They can dislike me. But you can change the MAAP plan. So if your dog changes, you can just change the MAAP plan without having to pay for the pet trust or the will to be done again. And then you have to let everybody know about each other. So you have to let your family know about your pet caregivers, and you have to let your pet caregivers know about your other pet caregivers and your vet. So that's what the MAAP stands for. I didn't want to close up before I let everybody who's listening to this air. You'd be amazed how many people listen to this podcast. So they'll be so glad you're here. They're going to know about Morty and beer, right?
Yep, Morty's Bark and Brew.
Morty's Bark and Brew in Minnesota. Oh my God, I love it. I love it.
Thank you. When it's safe to travel, come visit sometimes.
Oh, believe me, we will. I'm going to be traveling a lot. We'll be here next Wednesday if you want to join us, because we talk about different things every week and different people show up. So we'd love to have you back.
That would be fun.
This is Deborah Hamilton, Hamilton Law Mediation, the Why Do Pets Matter podcast. Don't miss it. It's a lot of fun. And of course, this wonderful community that I look forward to spending time with every single Wednesday night. Please kiss your babies for me, Athena, Morty, the Wheaton crew, and of course, Maggie.
Okay.
Take care, guys. I love you all.
Thank you.
Bye, Deborah.
Bye.